You ever had that moment where you walk into your own home, and suddenly realize you don't actually live there anymore? Your clothes are in the closet, your shoes by the door, your name on the bills. But the atmosphere? The tone? The energy? It belongs entirely to her. And you? You're just a guest who overstayed his welcome. That's exactly what millions of men feel but never admit. Present, but replaced. Married, but invisible. Loved, but only on paper. And there's a reason for that. Because there are certain words, certain sentences, that a woman never wants to hear from her husband. Words that rip the crown right off her head. Words that flip the power dynamic instantly. Words that expose just how fragile her control actually is. Most men will never dare say them. Not because they don't feel them, but because they're terrified of the fallout. You know the type of guys I'm talking about. He started the relationship confident, grounded, his own man. 6 months later, he's asking permission to go to the gym. A year later, he's apologizing for his tone. 2 years later, he's apologizing for having needs at all. He thinks this is being a good husband. He thinks silence equals peace. He thinks compliance equals love. Meanwhile, she's losing respect for him atom by atom. And he can't understand why she looks at him like a roommate she didn't choose. But here's what nobody tells you. A woman doesn't lose respect because you change. She loses respect because you disappear. Every time she tests you and you fold. Every time she raises her voice and you shrink. Every time she pushes the boundary and you move it. A piece of her attraction dies. Not because she's cruel, but because deep in her biology, deeper than romance, deeper than feminism, deeper than modern therapy talk, she needs to feel she's with a man who cannot be controlled. So yeah, there are words she fears more than anything. Not, "I'm leaving." Not, "I'm done." Not even, "I don't love you." No. The words that terrify her most are the ones that show her you've woken up. That her spells don't work anymore. That the fog cleared, the illusion died, and the crown she built on your back isn't real. And the first of those words, the sentence that shatters her ego like dropped glass, is this: "You're not as special as you think." Delivered calmly. Without anger. Without sarcasm. Just truth. Because every woman believes she's the exception. The chosen one. The masterpiece. So when you look her in the eyes and say, "You act like you're the prize here. But honestly, you've been ordinary. Predictable. Exactly like every woman before you." You don't just bruise her ego. You detonate the foundation it stands on. This is the moment her confidence fractures. This is the moment the dynamic resets. This is the moment she realizes the man she thought she controlled is suddenly uncontrollable. And in that silence, you'll see something in her eyes change. Fear. Respect. Awareness. All at once. Because a woman can survive your anger. She can survive your sadness. She can survive your frustration. But she cannot survive you seeing through her. And that was only the first truth bomb. There's a moment in every marriage where the power shifts. It doesn't happen during a fight. It doesn't happen during a confession. It doesn't even happen during the breakup talk. It happens in silence. The moment she realizes the threats she's been using for years don't work anymore. And that moment is triggered by the second sentence women are terrified to hear from their husbands. "If you want to leave, I won't stop you." Not shouted. Not emotional. Not dramatic. Just calm. Steady. Certain. Because nothing destroys a woman's sense of control faster than a man who isn't afraid to lose her. Understand something. For years she's relied on one assumption. The belief that your world collapses without her. That's why she says things like, "I need space. Maybe we should take a break. I don't know if this is working. You should find someone better." She doesn't mean any of it. She's fishing for fear. She wants to see panic in your face, desperation in your voice, trembling in your decisions. It's how she measures her power. But when you look her dead in the eyes and say, Go. If that's what you want, go. I'll be fine. Her stomach drops. Why? Because for the first time in the relationship, she has something to lose. You just shattered the foundation she secretly depended on. The belief that no matter what she does, no matter how she behaves, no matter how she disrespects you, you'll always be there. Women don't fear losing a man. They fear losing a man who doesn't need them. And that fear? That's the beginning of respect. But we're not done. Because if sentence number 2 shakes her crown, sentence number 3 sends it crashing to the floor. I've been happier without all this drama. You want to see real panic in a woman's eyes? Tell her this calmly, right after she tries to emotionally explode on you. This line terrifies women for one simple reason. Women survive on emotional dominance. Drama is their battlefield. Chaos is their advantage. Tension is their home turf. So when you say, without anger, without shouting, I'm genuinely happier when things aren't revolving around your emotions, it hits her like a truck. Because in that moment, she realizes the truth she's always feared. She's not the source of your happiness. She's the source of your exhaustion. And deep down, every woman knows this. If a man becomes happier without her, she becomes irrelevant. She's no longer the center. No longer the prize. No longer the force that shapes your world. And that terrifies her more than anything you could ever do. You'll see the shift instantly. Her voice softens. Her tone changes. Her attitude recalibrates. Because she's finally confronted the possibility she always denied. You don't need her. You just tolerated her. And that realization hits harder than any argument. Here it is. The last line. The one she hopes she will never hear from her husband. The sentence that doesn't just shake her ego. It erases the entire power structure she built over the years. Most men never say it. Most men are terrified of it. Most men swallow their truth and die slowly inside. But the men who do say it, they get their lives back instantly. This is the nuclear phrase. I don't feel anything anymore, and that scares you, not me. Say it calmly. Say it slowly. Say it like a man who finally woke up. Because this sentence cuts deeper than any insult, any argument, any threat. Why? Because the opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. And there is nothing a woman fears more than a husband who feels. Nothing. Women can handle anger. They can handle pain. They can handle jealousy, frustration, shouting, chaos. Why? Because all of those things mean you're still emotionally tied to her. You're still invested. You're still attached. Your heart is still on the table. But when a man says, I don't feel anything anymore, her entire world collapses. Because that means she can't manipulate your anger. She can't hook into your emotions. She can't provoke you. She can't pull you back. She can't control the narrative. She can't lure you into another cycle. She has lost access to your soul. And without emotional access, a woman loses her power completely. That's why the silence after you say it is louder than any argument you've ever had. What happens next? She'll panic quietly. Not the screaming kind of panic. The internal collapse. You'll see it in the way she suddenly becomes gentle. In the way her voice shrinks. In the way her eyes search your face for a crack. Any sign of the old you, the predictable you. The man she could guilt-trip, provoke, or emotionally drain. But when she finds nothing? No reaction? No spark? No emotional weakness to cling to? That's when she realizes. Her power is gone. Not because you fought her, but because you outgrew her. It's the most terrifying thing a woman can face. A husband who doesn't hate her, doesn't love her, doesn't fight her, doesn't chase her, just walks around her emotionally like she's no longer the center of anything. Not your thoughts. Not your focus. Not your future. And here's the twist. This sentence doesn't destroy marriages. It reveals them. A marriage built on manipulation? It ends here. A marriage built on respect? It rebirths here. Because when a woman realizes she's pushed you past the emotional finish line, she has only two options left. 1. Change. Or 2. Watch you detach until there is nothing left to save. Either way, you reclaim control of your life.